Hi everyone, we're all here with another Kerbal Space Program video, and yes, it's been a long time since I made one of these. There's a couple of reasons for that. Some good, some bad. The good ones, I reactivated my EVE Online account. I've been playing a lot of EVE Online, learning, the new stuff, the new changes that they made, things of that nature. Started my own corp again with the help of my older brother, and have been flying some Sisters of Eve ships and finding stuff in high sec. Those of you who play EVE Online know what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't, sorry. And the other thing that happened, not so good, is I lost my install of the Kerbal Space Program, so I lost everything I'd built. So I've been slowly but surely rebuilding stuff and redesigning things, and wanted to not make something just like stuff I'd made before. So here's the first thing I want to show you guys. This is, as you may have seen because of some of the design elements from some of my prior ships, a VTOL SSTO that is docking capable. The reason why I decided to design a ship like this is, well, I have, other SSTO ships, like this one that has space for 2 Kerbals, an ejection pod, and can dock. I use this to transport up to the space stations for my reusable program. I have a reusable program where I can get a crew of Kerbals from Kerbin to either the moon or Minmus and back without jettisoning a single stage, and I use these for them. But these aren't VTOLs, and frankly they're kind of ugly. So I decided to make one to look better that was a VTOL, so I can land it if I deorbit funny, and I can land it somewhere that doesn't require a runway to slow down and whatnot. And I came up with this. Probably the only thing that's lacking of it, or it would be a perfect all-purpose ship, is it only carries 1 Kerbal. I like to be able to take up at least 2. But there's only so much you can push up into orbit with 1 jet. And most of my current ships are, I'm liking the 1 jet with the double rocket thing. So let's take this thing out for a spin, show it off a little bit. Alright. So, shut down the rocket, shut down the pusher, lock the brakes, close all the intakes. I'm using that one trick Cruise and AK showed us about how to maximize our thrust here. This is a trick that I use a lot that I don't see anybody else using with VTOLs. I think I've gone over this before, but it's very difficult to level a VTOL so that you're hovering still if you can't see whether it's pointing straight up or down, and with a nav ball like this is a little bit difficult. So I always do this so I can look at my vector straight up and down. That also switches the controls so that it's easier to control and hover. The only thing that's wonky about it is that the Q and the E are inverted, but everything else is way more intuitive like this. And that's attached to the thermovoltaic thing, so that these are always powered. As you can also see, it has a lot of control wheels, so it's pretty easy to fly. Let's open that intake again, and up we go. Drop it a little over 1 so that we're in a better hover. And as you can see, it's pretty stable. Can fly it like a helicopter, sort of. It has the double lift jets, rockets that I always put on the bottom, and these are hotkeyed to the spacebar, so I can just turn them on and off again, make sure I don't hit the ground. So very easy to control. Let's do our normal party trick. This is the test I always put all my VTOLs through. If I can do this on one of them, then I know that it's stable enough to do anything with it. Of course, they're usually not SSTOs, but... Okay. So my normal test is to fly under this bridge. I hate that, but what you gonna do? Then through that tunnel, of course without touching the ground. And then of course, land on top of the VAB. Alright. So that test completed. Worked pretty well. Switch back to cockpit control. Shut down the lifter. Turn on the pusher. Release the brake. And to space. This one is not the most powerful craft. I mean, it's got a lot of weight, a lot of engines, and when in vertical flight only has one engine pushing. But since it has so many wings and control surfaces, it keeps the prograde vector pretty close to where the ship is pointing, which is good. So even though we're not moving very fast, we're gaining altitude really fast. The other thing is it's well strutted inside. I don't know if I can actually show you that, but it has can I see it? Sort of, I guess. It has both cubic octet struts and regular space tape struts inside, so it's very solid. I can time accelerate 4 times easily without any problem. So let's get out of here. If you can hear that buzzing in the background, that's the swamp cooler. Here in New Mexico, this time of year, if you don't have a swamp cooler running on the nape of your neck, you will spontaneously burst into flames. So sorry about the annoying sound. Okay. Up in the additional intakes. This is a non-air hogging ship, but it still does pretty well, especially with time acceleration. keep it to about 25. Don't start dropping altitude. Don't do it. Okay. One of the things I love about single engine craft is you can just run them dry till there's no oxygen at all and keep getting every bit of speed out of them because there's no asymmetrical flame out. I think this is about as much aircraft as you can really build around a single jet engine and still have it, you know, get off the ground and stay off the ground and get high enough to transfer into orbit. So I don't consider this to be an air hogging design because the intakes are sort of built in the structure parts that look like they would be intakes. There is only 4 intakes to one engine, or I'm not stacking the intakes one after another. I don't know. You guys let me know if you think I'm still cheating and that this is an air hogging ship or not. And of course these are just to hide that assembly that I always make of the plate where I put the engine under. That's the lifter fan there. The balance came out really good. I didn't have to thrust limiter. It almost hovers at full throttle. You have to throttle it back a little bit. So let's keep time accelerating. This could be considered a bit of an exploit because when you're time accelerating it seems to put more air through the intakes. But I won't tell if you guys won't. Still picking up speed. And flame out. And flame out. Come on. Even though it's still running, we're not picking up any speed, so let's get rid of that. Intake, shutting down engine. It is rocket time. How are we looking? Like crap, actually. Let's see here. That's good enough. That should be enough to coast it out. Yeah, we're not losing a lot of altitude on the apoapsis. After 60, it almost doesn't lose any altitude at all. There we go. Perfect. And as I've said a million times, after 70, we are in space. Cue the music. Alright. Now, since I'm going to try to catch up to that station, I want my stable orbit to be as low as possible so I catch up to it faster. So even though I have a apoapsis of 120 kilometers on that side, I don't really want that. So what I do is I create a maneuver node somewhere in the middle and just pull it towards the planet, and that'll tell you what that altitude is right where that node is. So that's 93. No, I want it down further. 87. Up a little bit. $90. Sounds good. What's my periapsis looking like? Not high enough. 90, 92. 90, 90. Alright. So just be a tiny little burn almost straight down. And that'll get us a steady 90-kilometer orbit. No matter what I do, always flying at night for some reason. Okay. Let's see. 90 and a half, 90 and a third. Perfect. Okay. So I don't know how you guys do it, but when I have to catch up to a station and I couldn't be any further, I like to go back to the Space Center and time accelerate there, because there's no restriction as to how fast you can make it go. That was added, I think, the last patch. So that's fine. Hurry up, you. I normally time accelerate it till it's about... Well, I look at the difference between the orbit that I have and the orbit I'm trying to intercept, and I just eyeball about 3 times that back. So like if the station was here, I don't want to be like 3 times back. So I want to time accelerate from here. 1, 2, 3. I want to time accelerate till I'm like right there behind it. Whoa, dude. I'd say about there. Okay, let's fly you. Okay. So, of course, we're going to set target. This is where I like to have a good space, because I want to be able to move that maneuver node back and forth to get a good intercept. So let's guess around there. I'm going to pull it till it says 200 kilometers, because that's the orbit of the station. It's 198. 204. 202. 201, fine. And then we just pull the node back and forth till those 2 arrows line up. 0.2. Sheesh, I could almost crash into it. Can't complain about that. Okay. These burns are tiny, so even though it's telling me it doesn't know, it's probably around 10 seconds. Maybe a little bit more. I'll just play it by ear. I can always adjust it afterwards. So when you're not sure of the time, what I like to do is just start burning slowly. And 9 seconds, that's about right. Let's do this. Okay, let's see. 2 kilometers. Alright, now, this ship has a ton of RCS. So, what I like to do is, when I'm on the opposite side of the rendezvous, any little change makes a huge difference over there. So, I can normally bring it in pretty close. So, I think I'm a little ahead. I'll just put the RCS on. Press an H. Oh yeah. Dude, seriously, I think I'm gonna hit it. Yep, I'm gonna hit it. Okay, I gotta be on point with the brakes. That's literally a collision course with my own orbiting space station. Why couldn't I do this when I was trying to shoot one down? Anyway. Okay, now the other thing that I like to do is, well, here's the target, well, the station, right? So that means that the station's somewhere in front of me. It's not going to come into view yet. It should be showing up here fairly soon. Where are you? Is that it? There it is. Okay. So I definitely want to keep an eye on it here because this is going to give me the good, good ranging information. Give me the velocity. There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to set this to target. Now my prograde vector and my velocity are all relative to the station. I can do my braking and my docking maneuvers way easier that way. Here's my range. Let's get ready to slam on the brakes. The other thing I'm going to do when I slam on the brakes is if you see the retrograde vector, it's not on the station itself. So if I sort of burn in the opposite direction, or, in the opposite, the opposite direction from where the retrograde vector is telling me the retrograde vector of the station is, and I can line those up, I can get even closer as I brake. Not that I need to this time, I don't think. I think I really am flying right at it. Kerbal Station Thusty, named after my favorite nephew that lives in New Mexico. I have to be careful when I say stuff like that. I do have more than one nephew. Loading, because it's got a lot of planes in it. Okay, so I'm currently moving at 83 kilometers. That's quick. Alright, here we are. Now, where to dock? Oh, there we go. There's an open port there. I like switching this to chase view, so I can just line up the plane and look at it that way. Whoa! Frame loss. There we go. That's going to do nicely. Of course, we want to open the docking port. I want to set the actual clampatron as their target, and let's RCS our way in there. So this is actually going to have me flying straight at the clampatron if I have that there. Let's fly at about 1 meter per second. That's a good speed. Of course, I want to fly at right below it. Actually a little to the side because I want to line this up. So yeah, like I was saying, this is the station that I use for staging my trips to the moon on my reusable space program. So these are two of those shuttles that show you on the ground. They brought up the moon crew that's over on the moon now, and this is an unmanned tanker that I use just to refuel the tanks. I know the station itself is ugly, but it's a single launch station. I brought it up here in a single piece. It only has one fuel tank and an RCS tank. And space to dock 6 ships, and actually I think I'm the 6th. So let's align that. turn off the RCS so I can change orientation without changing direction. Let's do some braking here. And now comes the eyeballing portion. Oh wait, no, there's another empty docking port. Oh, that's right. I had another tanker over here and I got rid of it. It's not nearly as crowded as I thought it would be. Okay, now right now we're controlling it from here. So we can't really see the alignment on the nav ball. What we can do is control it from here. After I stop moving though, that's confusing. Okay. So let's tap that N key. Alright. That's good enough. Control it from here. Line it up like that. That's still the target? Yes, it is. And now I can hit H and move straight at it. And use my nav ball to line up the orange thing with the pink thing. It just mirrors, it looks like it's not aligned. Oh well. It usually lines it right up. This is only doing this because I'm filming a video. That's why. I still got it though. I'm pretty sure. All right. And of course, I don't want to accidentally fly off someday. So yeah, so the way this works is I fly a Kerbal up in one of these. There's a ship similar to this with some nuclear engines and a big tank. That one just flies from station to station. And as you guys can see, I have 2 stations just like these. Well, 3 actually. I have 2 around the moon. Oh, that's the one that's the ship I was talking about. That's what gets Kerbals from station to station, and it also takes a lot more fuel than it needs, so I can keep these full. And then on the moon and Minmus, I have reusable landers that can just ferry Kerbals down to the surface and back up. Here's one of them. Boys are in there. These guys came here before I actually put a habitat on the moon. I do have one on the opposite side, of course. Where is it? Whatever, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'll put a habitat on the moon at some point. I also have, of course, the exact same setup going on in Minmus. So that's my whole reusable program. This one is the Diego station. That's named after my other nephew. So that's pretty much it. That's me showing off some of the stuff I've been up to, as well as my new ship. Thank you everybody, again, the guys who subscribed. Sorry that it took me like another 2 months to make a video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something. Please comment on any questions you have. I love to hear from you guys. I'll say that every video from now on. Especially if you guys have questions. If you guys have questions about how something works, or how a mechanic works, or if I have any trick about some problem you're trying to get over, please comment. That's why I do this. I love teaching people how to play video games, which is actually one of the things I love about EVE Online. I always end up just being a mentor to people that want to learn how to do this and that in the game. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, you guys, and fly safe.